Well, today is June 1st, 2022. My name is Rob Carr of Kalamazoo Right to Life, and this is Pro-Life Week. Well, a few items to talk about today. First off, I talked last time about this parallel universe, this alternate universe that we seem to be living in. Well, we're stuck in an alternate 2022 where everything is topsy-turvy. Right is wrong, good is evil, killing babies is healthcare, and saving lives is evil. Crazy, convoluted thinking. The shooting in Texas last week that left 21 people dead, including 19 elementary-age children, has brought us to the worst crazy statements by the pro-abortion people. And I just wanted to address that a little bit today. New York Times writer Maureen Dowd said this. She's on the warpath. This is what she said. Quote, "I think of child sacrifice as a modern phenomenon, a barbaric one that defines this country. We are sacrificing children, not only the ones who die, but also those who watch and those who fear the future. Children having their tomorrows taken away. Small sacrifice if we can keep our guns." And then, without skipping a beat, she continues, "The Republicans are doing everything they can to stop women from having control over their own bodies and doing nothing to stop the carnage against kids." Wow. So, on one hand, Dowd is accusing Republicans of doing nothing to stop guns, by introducing gun control legislation. But then the Republicans are turning around and we're stopping women from exercising their reproductive rights. Well, what is dying in abortion? It's not the woman, it's the baby. Let's continue. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot said, quote, "Every single day, children and young people are losing their lives to people who do not value the sanctity of life," unquote. She is a pro-abortion politician, and she's talking about the sanctity of life. To these people, life only matters after birth. A day or a week or a month or 2 months or 3 months before birth, that baby does not exist in their minds. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, accused pro-lifers of perpetuating a, quote, "idolatry of violence," unquote, by supporting laws that let children be shot in their schools. She is very pro-choice, very pro-abortion. But somehow, because we're allowing guns, some of these guns end up in the wrong hands. You got to think now, the people that commit these serial crimes, these serial killings, they are disturbed individuals, whether it's mental health issues, drug addiction. Most of these people come from broken homes where there's no father present. There's no real legitimate and adequate parental oversight over these children, these kids, these teenagers, these young adults. And, we're living in a very violent society. And we had 63 million babies murdered by abortion. So we live in a very violent society now. If we tolerate killing babies in the womb, what's to stop people who are mentally sick from carrying out their fantasies on innocent people by killing them? We have glamorized killing. We have. So why should it surprise anyone when mentally unstable people do the very same thing that goes on inside abortion clinics? Okay, let's continue. We hear a chorus of pro-abortion people who say that if Roe is overturned, women will die. Well, excuse me, women will not die if they don't get abortions. As far as I can tell, the only people who die in an abortion is the baby. And that's just a fact. That's just a fact. It's the baby that is killed. It's the baby that his or her body parts ripped apart. I'm sorry, I have to be kind of graphic, but ripped apart by the cold, unfeeling hands of the doctor, this abortionist. Abortion is not a simple procedure. It is a violent action, death by extreme violence. When we dehumanize the unborn, it is easier to kill them. Hitler and the Nazis did that with the Jews. They were dehumanized. Jews were called parasites, human weeds. And once you remove that mantle of humanity, anything can happen. And with the Nazis, anything did happen with the Holocaust and other ethnic minorities or homosexuals or political prisoners. Death became cheap, or I should say life became cheap, and death was the result. When a pro-abortion person sees an ultrasound showing a baby's round head, that's not a baby to them. She sees arms and legs, maybe a stomach, but that's not human. It's a fetus with no rights. And remember, for those of you listening, the word fetus is Latin for young infant. So even them using the word fetus is incorrect, because fetus, the word fetus, legitimizes the idea that the baby is human. I'm reminded of a comment from a 1973 Law Journal article right after Roe v. Wade. And even though the author was pro-choice, he severely criticized the Roe opinion. And he said, and I'm paraphrasing, something like, we have laws against killing animals. Like a dog or a cat. We just can't shoot them or kill them or behead them or stab them. We have ethical ways of terminating the lives of our pets. But we have laws on the books that say you cannot torture an animal. But somehow we can torture and kill a baby? A dog or a cat is not a person in the whole sense. That was the charge the Justice Blackmun said about the unborn, that they were not human in the full sense, or persons in the whole sense. Well, neither is a dog, but we have laws protecting dogs from torture. Are not babies in the womb of greater value than dogs or cats? Killing a dog is animal cruelty. Killing the baby in the womb is healthcare. Figure that one out. Speaker Nancy Pelosi has supported reproductive rights for 3 decades, despite her claim that she is a devout Catholic. And she said this on Joe Scarborough's program Morning Joe just a few days ago, that she's opposed to the death penalty. But of course, she's pro-choice. This is an alternate universe. So I looked up the number of people who have been killed by the state via capital punishment. Since 1976, 1,540 people have been executed, some by electric chair, most by lethal injection. That averages about 60 executions per year. And even that number is dropping. In 2017, 23 people were executed. In 2018, it was 25 people. So far in 2022, 6 people have been executed in 5 different states. In all, 24 states have the death penalty. And here's an interesting fact. Between 1973 and 2018, 164 death row inmates were exonerated. So what led to their convictions being overturned? DNA evidence. Crime labs use far more sophisticated tools to discover the truth. And in those cases, the DNA proved that the person who was on death row was not guilty. Now, he may not have been released. This person may still be incarcerated for a lesser offense that was committed at the same time, but he was not going to be remaining on death row because the DNA proved his innocence. Okay. So how many abortions have been performed since 1973? About 65 million. That averages to 1.3 million abortions per year. That number has been decreasing. Some experts say the number is now closer to 900,000. That averages 2,465 abortions per day. Remember that number I gave you about the number of death penalty executions, the average per year? 60 per year. Abortion is 2,400 per day. Per day. Planned Parenthood performed almost 355,000 abortions in 2020, according to their annual report. That's up about 9,000 from the previous year. If they increase in abortions, they are reducing services in other areas. The number of adoption referrals has decreased 37% between 2018 and 2019. There were 133 abortions for every adoption referral. Between 2009 and 2019, abortions increased. The number of abortions they performed increased almost 8%. Breast exams fell 63% during that same time period. Pap tests fell by 64%. Prenatal services fell by 72%. So much for women's health. With that, I will let you go. But before I do go, remember, don't sign that petition. Don't sign that petition. We are 1 week closer to the Dobbs decision that will overturn Roe v. Wade. That is good news. That is great news for babies. Don't sign that petition. With that, I will see you next time.